Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
Chaplain ordered to remove religious essay from a military website. Hi, welcome to Faith and Freedom. I'm Steve Crampton, Vice President for Legal Affairs and General Counsel for Liberty Counsel. With me again today, Harry Mehet, Senior Litigation Counsel for Liberty Counsel. Harry, we have seen what I would call an increasing even hostility toward religion, and in particular, of course, Christianity, in our own military these days. What's going on when a chaplain in Alaska posts an article, "No Atheists in Foxholes," in the chaplain's corner on the website for the military, and it gets censored? I mean, if it's the chaplain's corner, can't we legitimately expect that there will be some religious content to it?
We almost could not make this stuff up, Stephen,
really
if we tried. But in this particular instance, Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth Rees published this very well-meaning and very respectful essay that simply made or attempted to trace back the origins of the well-known remark, "There are no atheists in a foxhole."
Yes.
And he basically analyzed that statement and concluded that basically in a life or death situation, everyone expresses faith in something, whether it is the God of the Bible or some other God or thing or person. And in that way, it was a very respectful and well-meaning essay, but it was promptly removed, and he has been chastised and reprimanded for showing hostility towards the secular viewpoints.
And I like it, too. They say it's out of respect for those who consider its title offensive. It's just the title. Forget the content. And this whole notion that we are now in a land where subjectively, if anyone feels or even might feel offended, we must pull back on anything religious. And yet there's all kinds of grossly offensive conduct and language used that offends people of faith, and no one seems to take notice of that, right?
That's absolutely right. Suppose someone ends up on the chaplain's corner portion of this particular website, and they are just offended by what they see in this article.
Yeah.
Well, the remedy and the solution is quite simple. Just click on to something else and stop reading it.
Yeah.
But that's not what this is about. This is about attacking the freedom and the liberty of this chaplain and of people of faith like him, and stifling their speech so that only one viewpoint, their viewpoint, will ultimately be presented in the marketplace. That's what this is about.
That's exactly right. Similarly, by the way, another article recently indicated that an airman who opposed gay marriage ceremony that took place in the West Point Chapel, he just raised a question, said, he's personally offended by it. By the way, there's that offense again, by a person of faith, and wondered whether it was even permissible under the Defense of Marriage Act, and this is before DOMA was struck down by the Supreme Court. And this man is reprimanded, chastised, and suffers discipline. 26, 27-year, unblemished career. And because he dares to speak out and question this new sacred cow of same-sex marriage and the homosexual agenda, he is swapped and slapped down.
It's an unbelievable and outrageous story, Stephen. As you mentioned, this person had been serving his country faithfully for 27 years. All he does is write a letter in which he says, look, I don't think that a chapel ought to celebrate homosexual marriage. And the reprimand letter that he receives in response, here's what they told him. Quote, "You are hereby reprimanded. As an officer, you are expected to maintain a standard of professional and personal behavior that is above reproach, you have failed! Exclamation point, end quote. Expressing a biblical and respectful viewpoint on
Right.
homosexuality
Right.
now is tantamount to personal behavior that is reproachful and that is subject to reprimand in our armed forces.
And there's more. He was, he's a cancer victim, and they canceled his medical benefits until he basically signed off on the reprimand.
Yeah,
And,
actually, I believe his wife
it's
is
his wife. I'm
the
sorry.
cancer
Thank you.
patient.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to change his contract, his enlistment contract, from 6 years, what it was, to only 1 year. And so they basically threatened to remove the wife's cancer benefits until he agreed to this reprimand, which included a 5-year reduction in his enlistment, all because he expressed a biblical viewpoint on marriage.
Again, imagine if the shoe were on the other foot. Suppose this is a woman who expresses support for abortion, and the military comes back and says, we're going to withhold your medical benefits and prevent you from getting birth control pills or something until you sign off and admit to wrongdoing there. We would never hear the end of it, would we?
That's right. It seems like the military thinks that it is not subject to the American Constitution like everybody else in our country. And, it's so rampant and so widespread. There's so many other examples. One more here. There was a piece of art that was posted in a military installation that simply showed some peacemakers with the Matthew 5:9 reference. And Matthew 5:9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers." A very nice and respectful and just beautiful piece of art that had been there. Too offensive for the military. They ordered its removal for no other reason because it had Matthew 5:9 in the inscription, Stephen.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
And now, if we're going to undertake censorship of what somebody called Christian art, well, anybody that even begins to consider the history of the classic art throughout the ages, you're going to eviscerate the art museums of the world, aren't you?
Yep.
The Statue of David, the
Last
Pieta,
Supper.
the Last Supper, and so on and so on and so on. Pretty soon we're not going to have anything but, pictures of toothpicks or something left up.
Exactly. Those are arguments that we had the opportunity to make recently in a case where we represented Sharon and Daniel Dixon, who were employed by a company, and they hung in their office a picture of lilies. Just a beautiful picture of lilies with Matthew 6:28 in the caption, which says, "Consider the lilies." That picture was also found too offensive to be displayed in public, and we ended up having to file a lawsuit on their behalf against their employer, who had fired them and evicted them from their apartment for their horrendous crime. And that lawsuit had a happy ending. Fortunately for them, freedom prevailed there.
Yeah. And it's doubly tragic, it seems to me, when it takes place inside the military that has a history that really predates even the Declaration of Independence, with General Washington issuing orders to his troops that divine services, as he called them, would be held every Sunday. And contrary to the reprimand of the airmen who opposed the homosexual marriage, he encouraged, as an example, that all officers shall attend as a good example to the soldiers. We've come a long way, haven't we, in our military?
How far we have come indeed, Stephen. The military is responsible for fighting to protect our first freedoms. They're on the front lines to ensure that we as Americans retain the foundational freedoms that have made this country great, and now they're being deprived of these very same freedoms themselves. How ironic and how tragic it is that with all of the wars that we are fighting across the world, with all of the terrorism, with all of the true threats that our military is facing, the upper echelon has somehow decided that our biggest enemy is, in fact, God himself. Amen. That is tragic, and that should not stand.
We at Liberty Counsel support our military, and we support our constitutional rights. would you please join with us? Pray for our military. Pray for our nation. God help us when our own military is gutted from the God who made us great in the first place, who protects us on the battlefield and off, and who really gave us the very rights that we cherish through the Constitution. Visit us at www.lc.org or call us 1-800-671-1776. God bless you, and God bless the USA.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.